Are we live? Yes, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Mark's Business Check-in. It's Friday morning. If you're in Ireland, it's the beginning of the bank holiday weekend, which is fantastic to recharge the batteries. If you're not in Ireland, our apologies. You're in work on Monday. We're not. Because we have the bank holiday weekend. The weather outside in Dublin, it's windy, it's wet, it's cold. So be very, very careful out there. There's more flooding due, so just take your time going to work. If you are driving, getting the bus, getting the train, cycling into work. Just be extremely careful. I mean, extremely careful of any dangers out there. And in the UK, it's about 2 degrees in London at the moment. And there was a threat of snow last night. I'm not sure if it snowed. I'll know later on. And that was not your weather forecast. So Friday morning, and the format on the Friday is going to be slightly changed now because some people have asked for it and we're going to give it. We're going to do a book review every Friday, some book that I think everyone should read. Now, I hope you can all hear me on this microphone because it should be live. So the book I think everyone should be reading is, I'm going to talk about that in a second, is Think and Grow Rich. And the reason I say you should be reading Think and Grow Rich, and you can see that's my copy. I've had it for years. Look, some of the cover is gone. It's a type of book that I take up maybe once a week and read a chapter out of a different chapter. And I've had this book for about 20 years. And it only came home to me yesterday. I've been trying to get a big project over the line for last year and a half. And I haven't been really focused, and I've been out of focus, to be honest with you. And expecting the worst all the time, which was never like me. But I decided just before Christmas to change my attitude and to change what I'm doing and how I look at things. And for the first time in a good few years, I wrote down all my goals, my 7 top goals that I want for this year. That they happen this year, and they will happen this year. That would completely change who I am, my life, and my family's life, and other things, and my business and all that. And the goals I wrote down are not your easy achievable goals. They are not your easy achievable goals, but they're my goals. And the fantastic news is that one of the main goals in that list came true yesterday. And that goal is going to, and that achievement is going to completely change my year, completely and utterly change my year. And that's a fact. So that goal happening to me yesterday, that event will completely change my year ahead. And it's because I think working for yourself, you need to have a certain type of attitude. You need to have a positive attitude all the time. And it's very hard to keep a positive attitude. When things are happening all around you, different things are happening, it's very hard. Sorry, I'm having a drink of my hot honey. When things are happening all around you, it's very hard to keep up. My sound is not working. All right, okay. I'm going to take this off and take that off. And hopefully my sound is now working on my TikTok. So Garden Goblin, can you tell me is my sound working now? Now this sound fantastic. Thanks. My production manager, Garden Goblin, was there telling me my sound was not working. So what I was saying was, I decided, because the last couple of years I think I was in a bit of a negative frame. Maybe it wasn't, but I didn't expect good things to happen all the time. And I decided come November, December, I would change my attitude completely. And it's worked, because I wrote down my goals and my 7 top goals. I have 30 goals, but I have my 7 top goals for the year. And one of the major ones came true yesterday, which is going to change my whole year and open up massive opportunities for me. And it was brilliant that came true. But I put it down to years ago reading this book, Think and Grow Rich. And there's a lot of stuff in that book about being positive, about perseverance, about attitude, about creativity, about setting your goals. And, it is true that when we write things down, things happen. And that's why my very first show I did on January the 6th and on the one on January the 7th, I talked about the whiteboard, and I talked about it's important on that whiteboard to have 1, 3 things that if they happen to you or your business this year would change your life. I said that to you all, and it works for me. And we're only into January the 30th, and what happened yesterday on the 29th, I'm already way ahead of my goals for this year. And I know other things are going to happen. Because when one goal happens, when something happens that you've written down on paper, it spurs you on to keep going. It spurs you on to keep moving. And it gives you a mighty kick in the backside that you want to keep going. You want to keep moving. You want to keep going there. And that's what's happened to me. So, and if you run your own business, you need to have a certain type of positive attitude, as I said. And it's very hard to have a positive attitude. It's extremely hard certain times of the year to have a positive attitude. But you need to see everything as an opportunity. You need to see setbacks as an opportunity. And this book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, I forget, it was published in I think the 20s when it was first published. I'm trying to see here for you. When was it first published? Doesn't say when it was first published. Sometimes in these things, no, I can't see when it was first published. But it sold millions of copies worldwide, millions of copies. Napoleon Hill was probably the first Tony Robinson, the first Jack Black from Mindstorm. He was the first positive guru that they've all learned of. And really, what this book, if you go and bring it down to 1 or 2 pages, it's telling you to do. And there's no reason why you can't do it this morning. It's simply write down your goals for the year. Write down the things you want to happen to you this year that'll make a difference in your life. And no matter how off the wall they seem, these are your goals. Write them down. No matter how off the wall they seem, write them down. Many years ago, I came from a position of working in Eddie Rockets. I had a business that didn't work out, so I went to work in Eddie Rockets wearing the black tie. This is back to the early 90s. 2 interesting things there was. I was working in Eddie Rockets behind the counter, flipping burgers, cleaning tables, after running my own business. And one person came in who did a lot of business with me. And I'd given him a lot of business and paid for everything. All the business was paid for. He did a lot of business. He was paid for every single bit of it. He sat down with his wife or his girlfriend at the counter, orders his food. And I don't know whether he didn't know it was me because he was used to seeing me in a suit and tie. I'm not sure whether he knew it was me or he was embarrassed, but he didn't acknowledge me whatsoever. Right? And that's a fact. Right? So I went from running one business. I had it for a few years, and then we decided to close it down because the reason I closed down is because there was a robbery in the business. I was stabbed in the robbery. So I got stabbed in this robbery. I got shot at. All because a certain well-known criminal who's no longer with us wanted protection money off me. And this individual wanted a certain amount of protection money every single week. I said no. So there was a robbery, and I was stabbed in the robbery. And I decided to close the business down. The business was still profitable. Business was still doing okay money. The business was still up there doing its stuff. But I basically had lost my nerve to go over to the business and with a number of outlets. And I lost my nerve because I got stabbed, because I got shot at. I lost my nerve in going to that business every day. So I decided to close it down. And that's how I came to work in Eddie Rockets. But within 4 years, I was buying a business for 5 million. And if you had seen my goals when I was working at Eddie Rockets, you would have said they were unachievable. But I achieved them all. And that's why you have to write down your goals, realistic and unrealistic. Don't write simple things down and go like, I hope to get the bus on time every single day this month. That's not a goal. Okay? That's just a wish. And that's don't write stupid things down like that. So if you're out there, this book, and you get it on Kindle, you get it on audio, you get all that type of stuff. The reason I like it the way it is that I have notes written on it, I have underlined words on it, I have little things that suddenly come to me, because there's a lot in this book. And when you read this book the first time, you'll miss about 2/3 of it. And when you read it the second and third and fourth and fifth and sixth, you'll miss 2/3 of it. So hopefully the bits you keep missing, you'll get in other readings. And that's why every once a week or once every 2 weeks, I'll read a chapter or half a chapter. I'll just go like that, pick any page and start to read from there. And you always get something from it. Always. So if I was recommending a book for you to go out and buy, and because like when I bought this, I have this at least 20 years. Like at that stage, there was 15 million copies sold worldwide, right? If you're in Eason's or some bookshop today, I would highly recommend you buy that book. If you think of running your own business, or if you run your own business, or you're running a business on behalf of someone else, well, then I think you should buy that book and keep it beside your bed table and read something over every day when you first get it, and then just keep it beside your bed. And when things get tough, open a chapter and read something. Like what this book, as I said, comes down to is you need to be positive. If you're running your own book or running your own business, you need to come to that business with a positive attitude, and you need to be creative. The great thing about people who run their own business, and I'm dyslexic, all the people who are dyslexic are creative. They just are. It's just the way we're made. So if you're dyslexic, you're creative. And the good chance if you're dyslexic, you're running your own business. Or you're the MD of that company that you work for. Or you will be the MD of that company you're now working for. Because if you're dyslexic, you're very creative, and that's why you run your own business, and that's why you're very senior in a senior management team. Because you find solutions to all problems. You find solutions where no one else sees them. And the beauty about being creative is if you're using your right brain like we do all the time when you're dyslexic, you're always looking for solutions. You're always looking at different angles. You're always looking at how we can solve this challenge, because nothing's a problem. Everyone else will see it as a major hurdle. You will see it as a challenge. I always remember when I was buying in the advertising agency, a few days ago, before we signed and bought the company, we were £500,000 short of the money we needed to buy the company. And the accountants brought me into the room and said, we're £500,000 short, we're going to have to call the deal off, like all this type of stuff. And they were only worried because they had ran up a bill of £80,000. The accountancy firm had ran up a bill of £80,000 that if the deal didn't go through, they were going to lose. So they were panicking. And I just said, I will find the £500,000. I will find a solution. I will go out there. I will find it. One will come to me. And I found it. Right? I found the £500,000, and the deal went through for $5 million, and we bought the company. So when you run your own business, you need to be creative. You need to be always looking outside the box. And the thing about this book is, it's really saying you need to be creative, you need to be positive, you need to be a futurist, and you always need to be looking ahead. Not too far ahead, but you set your long-term goals, and then you work on them daily. Okay? So on this Friday morning, leading into the bank holiday weekend for everyone living in Ireland, if you live in my listeners from Australia, London, Prague, Dubai, it's not a bank holiday weekend for you, and we apologise for that. But we're Irish, and we like having a Monday off every so often, and that's why Monday is our bank holiday. And that also means I won't be on air on Monday because it's bank holiday. So if you do yourself a favour, buy this book. It'll probably cost you 10 or 12 quid, 10 or 12 euros. No matter where you are in the world, buy Think and Grow Rich and leave it beside your bed. Read it for the first time, read it over a week, because as I said, there's a lot in it. Highlight stuff, make notes, do whatever you have to do. But it is a fantastic book. And it's a fantastic book to have if you are ambitious, if your life is in turmoil at the moment and you need direction, if you're completely lost at the moment, your life is all over the place, money is tight, you have family crisis going on, you have a business crisis going on, you have a personal crisis going on, and everything just seems to be a complete and utter mess. Complete and utter mess. Having that book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, it will help you find some solutions and put into place some solutions to help you in your personal life, your business life, whatever's going on. Because sometimes when we have crisis going on and we have so much happening in our lives, we can't see the wood for the trees. That we're lost. We're completely and utterly lost. And that's why we need direction. Same way when you're driving the car, when you're out there and you're lost, you're looking for a signpost. You're looking for either a signpost or the GPS to tell you which way you should go. If you're driving the car and you have no power, your phone's gone dead, you have no GPS, you're looking for that signpost to point you in the right direction to get to where you want to go. This is one of those books that will help you find out where you want to go and help give you a plan. I guarantee you, when you read this book, you'll get something out of it. And I guarantee you, if your life is in turmoil, if your business is in turmoil, if your head is all over the place, and you have so many worries and so many problems at the moment, this book will help you clear some of those worries and make a plan. And as I said, at the beginning of this year, I wrote down my 7 top goals for the year. And one of them I've been chasing for a while, and it came through on Friday. And it's going to completely change my year for the better. It's going to be a fantastic year. It's going to change it for the better, which is absolutely brilliant. And it's going to change everything for me. Completely. And throat. And it's absolutely brilliant. So do yourself a favour. Bank holiday Monday coming up, long weekend, do that. And if you are working for yourself, a lot of people who work for themselves don't like bank holiday weekends, because to them it's another day of worrying, another day that they have to try and find money for. Maybe bring the family out for a meal, or go out for a coffee to a coffee shop, or do stuff like that. And like a lot of people who are self-employed don't look forward to the weekend because they find it a tough time, because they spend all day Friday trying to get money in, and they find the weekend they can't relax. Well, if you're one of those people and money is tight, business is bad, it's not going the way you want it, do yourself a favour. Even with the kids screaming, running around, find some time, spend the 10 or 15 quid. I think it's less on Kindle. Buy this book and it will help you. It will help you, I guarantee you, start to formulate things in your head. It will start to clear things up for you. Just do it. It will make a huge difference to who you are and what can happen to you over the next 12 months and 24 months or 36 months. I think all those years ahead. And make that first change this weekend. No matter how well things have gone or how bad things have gone this week, and how bad Friday is for you when you're driving around trying to get money in, and then you dread the weekend and you dread the bank holiday because you have very little money in your pocket. And we've all been there. Anyone who's self-employed has been there, who hate bank holidays, because with bank holidays, the onus on you to spend more money. The onus is to go maybe out for a meal, an extra time, or go to the pub, or bring the kids to a restaurant or to a play centre, or go to the pictures, and you have very little money and you're just dreading it and you're worried every single moment. How will you pay for this? How will you pay for that? What will happen when it comes on Tuesday? I've been there. I've been there completely. So, a lot of times last year, I was still there. Will I be there? We'll all be there. So you're not alone. You are not on your own. But to go the next step, to get yourself into a place where that doesn't happen, or you have as much happening in your life to stop it from happening, you need a plan. You need your goals, right? I think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is that plan for you, and it will help you. I know it will. It's helped me. And already of my 7 goals for this year, one of them has been achieved, which is going to completely change my year. So if you get anything out of this podcast or this show this morning, as we're on every weekday from 7:30 a.m., we're live on YouTube, we're live on LinkedIn, and we're live on Instagram. Well, we should be live on Instagram. I just realized now we never went live. So we're live on Instagram, we're live on YouTube. If you get anything out of this now, is to go out there, buy Think and Grow Rich, and start planning your life from today. Start planning a life that will work for you. And as I said, if you are self-employed and you hate the weekends and you hate even the bank holidays even more because of lack of cash, lack of money, lack of opportunities, and it's worrying the hell out of you, and you know that you're going to spend the next 3 days worrying about the whole business and how you're going to on all that type of stuff, things can change very quickly. And I remember when one of the last business I worked for someone else, like we'd come in maybe for a whole week, have no money in the bank, worrying about how we're going to pay certain bills. And if in a second it would change, when maybe 20 or 40 or 50 or 60,000 pounds would drop into the bank account from someone who owed us money, who we didn't expect to pay us. In that second of logging on to look at the bank account, it changed. And things can change in a phone call. Things can change so quick that it's unbelievable. In an instant, things can change. You've heard people who win the lottery, who have nothing, and suddenly their numbers come up. And in that moment, their life has changed. Well, if you're working for yourself, the same thing can happen. Suddenly, maybe someone will ring you today to give you a new business that you've been chasing. Maybe someone that owes you a lot of money suddenly pays it because something has gone right for them. Maybe someone will knock on your door and say they're interested in buying your business. But things can change in an instant. And I've talked to a lot of people who are self-employed, entrepreneurs who have sold their business, and they'll all tell you that many times when they're struggling really bad, that perseverance, that they just kept going, persistence, they kept going. And suddenly, something happened that they realized if they had given up yesterday or the day before, they would have missed out on their winnings. They would have missed out on substantially winning and receiving funds, receiving money, receiving opportunities, if they had stopped doing something the day before. And it's only like me doing this show every weekday from at 7:30 a.m. I know I'm talking to people. I know there's a good few people looking at the show. But for the first few days, I don't think there's anybody looking at the show. But you take it on yourself to do these things and you keep going. You keep going because I have an ambition of the amount of people I want to be able to reach for this program. I want to be able to let people know all my 30, 35 years in business, all the things I did wrong, that I tell you what they are, that you won't do them, tell you all the stuff that hasn't worked for me, and that if you do them, hopefully they'll work for you. And that's what the whole idea of this show is about. But it'd be easy for me not to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and not to get ready to do this show and not to prep the day beforehand and just stay in bed and get up around 8 o'clock and then just go and get my day going. But it's not about that. And we've all been there where even people who don't work for themselves, who stayed in the company, even though they would rather leave, and suddenly they get the promotion they wanted and it has changed their life. Right? So perseverance is huge. And that's what this talks about as well. If you have your goals and you have your vision and you keep going, and it tells the story in there, you'll read it yourself, about the man who had the gold mine, who sold it after not being able to find the gold vein, and he only realized after he sold it, when the new person found it, that he was only 3 feet away from hitting that gold and being extremely wealthy. So if you are working for yourself this morning and you are having a tough day and you're going to have a tough weekend, just keep going. If you have a vision and you have a dream, keep going. Because you could be 3 feet away or 3 minutes away from something major happening to you that will change your life and change your business. So just have the guts, have the courage to keep going. And that's important. That's my wisdom for today from my own experience in business, from my own experience in life. Perseverance. Keep going. Don't let anything stop you. Don't let anybody stop you. Don't let anybody tell you it won't work. Don't believe them when they say it won't work. Don't tell them what you're doing. It's your goal or goals. It's your ambition. It's your dream. Keep it going. Keep moving forward. Don't let anybody stop you and tell you you're wrong. Don't let anybody stop you and tell you it won't happen. Don't let anybody tell you anything negative. And do the trick I do, thanks to Jack Black, who I'll talk about next week, from MindStore. He taught me a technique many years ago that when someone says something negative, I just say to myself, delete that in my head. Delete that comment. And I replace it with a positive thought. Okay? That's just my trick. It may not be your trick. That's my trick. So on the start of this bank holiday weekend, I hope we have a fantastic time. We're going off air now on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. We're going off there now. So we're going to stay on the air for a few more minutes with TikTok. And we still have some people, and we always do, the TikTok is Mind's Eye Education. If anyone's looking for any past shows, if you're looking for any video, any training videos, sales training videos, videos about neurodiversity, dyslexia, dyspraxia, they're all up there on our YouTube channel at Mind's Eye Education. So with some fantastic interviews up there, with some fantastic free training videos. I have a whole hour of a sales training video. It's free. It won't be free for much longer. It's free at the moment. And also, if you can hit the follow button, if you can hit the follow button, you will get a reminder every single week that and every weekday that we're live, especially on Instagram, especially on YouTube. If you can hit subscribe or follow, it'd be fantastic. I'd really appreciate it. So if you could hit that follow button or that subscribe button, that'd be brilliant. Look forward to talking to you all next Tuesday. There's no show on Monday. Why? Because it's a bank holiday in Ireland, and I will be enjoying my bank holiday. So just make sure that everything goes great for you, and make sure you enjoy your bank holiday. So I'm ending the show now on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Thanks very much for joining me this morning on the show. Hope you have a great weekend.